Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Trading Bitcoin with King. This is not intended as financial advice, so please do your due diligence before making any decisions based off of this information. So it's been a boring week with Bitcoin this week. We did have a nice little Tether FUD bounce there. I don't feel like it did much. Technicals didn't really change much. Go over some of that stuff with you guys today. So I'm going to start off with I've been really digging into this monthly chart, the monthly index chart, and I'm going to get my face out of the way for you guys for just a little while there. There we go. So anyway, I'm going to start out here with the monthly chart, and basically what I was seeing is I was just kind of, looking at this index chart, going back and looking at 2014 and looking at just some of the previous bounces, just running some, basic calculations, some numbers, some trend lines, and some interesting stuff popped out to me. So basically I follow the trend line of every year here, or years, multiple years in some areas with these trend lines. Okay, and I noticed that one, we didn't cross any of these wave lines on the way back up. One that really interested me was that we did touch the top of this line here before we went to our bear market. Now I don't know if this means anything or not. It's just something that I, came across. I seen somebody else have a drawing kind of like it, so I started kind of working with it, drawing it my way, and it is kind of interesting. So I just wanted to, I'm going to kind of leave it there and play with it a little bit. I kind of added this line here of what maybe the next wave could look like when we catch a steady increase. Either of these lines is not bad. I mean, it still shows that we have massive amount of room to grow, but still. The other thing that was interesting is in this descending triangle that we had back between November 2013 through September of 2014, this triangle eventually ended up breaking down in 10 months. Okay, and right now, if you do the exact same triangle here in our new bear market of 2018, the same 10-month period here is where we're at, and we're right at the bottom of that triangle. Now our monthly chart has yet to go green at all this month. Now even with the BitMEX spike and all that, the index chart touched right at the top of our triangle. Okay, and we were rejected, and now we're sitting here with the little spinning top. So, if we were to close the rest of the month, which we have a chance to do, we have, what is it, today's the 17th, so we have, almost 2 weeks still left in this month to see what happens. If we close below the triangle, we could be seeing an exact repeat of what happened in 2014. Now this candle broke through. Okay, now it didn't come down and touch this moving average or anything like that. It just broke the triangle. Okay, the following month it actually came back to the top of the triangle, or back to the bottom of the triangle almost, but still ended up touching this 30-month moving average. If that happens, that's right at that 5,000 to 5,500 mark that we've been talking about. Now this is over the long term. Sometime next month this could happen. I'm just saying the 11th month tested the 30-month moving average. Again, it was trending up in the same direction. Everything is almost dead on if you really look at this chart. Okay. Now the descending triangle target's been 3,300 for a while, just based on highs and just basic technicals. So if that happens, that puts us, maybe if it happens, let's say 3 months out, that puts us right where this moving average is at, kind of back like what happened here. And they got a really good bounce, and then it hung around and it slowly inclined over the next you know, 12 to 15 months or something like that before we broke out into this new bubble that we're in. The other thing that's interesting is if these trend lines play out, we should break below that trend line and then never come back above it. Okay? And that's what we did here. We should break below this trend line and we should never come back above it. We should have another steady incline before another bubble, which again, if this happens over the next, let's say, 3 years and you come out here to the 23 area, you may see us in a steady incline somewhere around 30,000, 40,000 already ready to pop for a new bubble, which we would still have, which we would still have plenty of room to that bubble to go to 380, 450, you know, maybe even more, $1,000 per coin. So, you know, there's a lot of possibilities. This is just something I was looking at. I wanted to go over it with you guys. So you guys, you know, let me know what you think. You guys can talk to me about it. Let me know. I mean, I always want to hear some opinions. It's just something I've seen, and you know, maybe you guys want to implement it in a few charts. I'm actually going to do it in a few other charts and just test this line theory, and you know, maybe in some of the stock market areas and other things like that, and see if we can maybe find this as a useful idea, or you know, something that maybe you draw out one day and say, oh, hey man, that might just be the top, or you know, you never know. So just think about it. But those are some things that I noticed. Also, the 2360 or the 236 fib level line has been broken in every one of these markets. Even from the very beginning, it got broke down. So if that 236 fib level gets broken down again, that lets us hit our 3300 target. So we'll just see what happens, man. I don't know. This is just kind of more obviously midder to longer term into next month, obviously, and to finish out the year. The intraday stuff, who knows what's going to happen in between there, and we'll jump into that here in just a second. But anyway, so that's just kind of some stuff I wanted to show you there. Let's jump over to the, let's go to the daily chart. All right, so the daily chart. Now on my daily chart, that wick punched all the way through right to the top of the BB in that 100 MA, and it bounced. It was rejected heavily, and obviously that was all the Tether bounce there, and it came back and it kind of fell back into this same downtrend line here that it was on in the beginning, with its support being around 6,400 to the, you know, area it's at now. So again, you know, however you want to look at this, there's a lot of support here, and it's still kind of following some type of a downtrend here. Could we still come up and test the top of the triangle, 65, 6,600? Yeah, it's possible. I think it's possible, but will it happen? Who knows? I'm thinking more or less along the lines that we could see a little bit of a squeeze, and we'll look at the long shorts here in just a second to see if that's validated or not. But I believe that the shorts are super, super high on BitMEX. You know, let's look. Let's just look real quick. Oops, wrong chart. We'll go back to that. So yeah, I mean, the shorts again are climbing. Longs fell off pretty good there. They took their profit and they got out. Looks like the shorts are starting to increase again. So, you know, we could see a little bit of a short squeeze. But the longs, the shorts have just, you know, they really haven't fell off. I mean, they've been getting wrecked, or they're adding on, or they're building positions or something, because they're just staying real high on BitMEX. BitMEX has not fallen. BitMEX, let me see here. I can pull up the numbers real fast. I'm not really sure what was going on there. Haven't looked in a few days. Let me check it out here. Yeah, so the longs outweigh the shorts on BitMEX big time. I mean, it's 57-43. So overall, I mean, they're still quite even. you know, it's not really out of control. And you know what? I forgot I had this right here, right in front of my face. I always look at this, you know. They have their little mixture total. Yeah, I mean, here overall they're pretty even. But man, the difference on Phoenix is ridiculous. So you know, you never know. There might be a short squeeze to kind of level that side of things out, but we'll have to just see what happens. Dominance, I believe, was climbing the other day. Let's see. So 54.1%. I think that was the last time I looked at it. Let's see if it refreshes. It may have came down a little bit. Yeah, see, this was. Yeah, there we go. So yeah, it's down just a little bit, but it's still hovering around right around 53%. Not really changes much anything. So anyway, back to the charts. So again, here on the daily chart, we're at the middle of the BB there, where we'll see here if we're rejected or not. It looks like it's being rejected now, but you know, it's hard to tell. We'll have to dig into some of the other charts. So let's see here. 12-hour chart. 12-hour chart's been really useful lately. Again, this one's being rejected at the 50-week moving average, or the 50-hour moving average, or the 12-hour moving average, however you want to label it, the 50 MA. So it's being rejected there. It's looking like, you know, the BB's not really pinching, but it is still kind of following the same trend as our triangle. We'll have to just see what happens here. The 12-hour chart's not giving us very much info midterm. Let's look at the 4-hour chart. The 4-hour chart can give us some ideas here. So yesterday I seen this 9 on the sequential on the 4-hour, which was interesting to me short term, thinking that we would maybe see another BART, a BART here back into this level here, which I believe is still very possible and makes sense given the bounce and how we've been kind of hanging here. You know, now we're a little lower. I believe I just moved that, but we should BART back into this. It's very possible. I was just going to look at the fibs, but I just messed them up, so we'll just leave that out. Also on the 1-hour chart, I had this little channel going here. We did break out of it last night, a red 2 under a red 1. If you caught that short, you probably would have entered somewhere around here, and nothing's really happened yet. So you're kind of just at a standstill point here. It's still being rejected by the 100 MA. So, and it's still trending down as well. So, and so is the 50 MA. So there's a good chance that we do come back down and possibly test the bottom of the BB here. And maybe bounce back into this little area here and play around there for just a little while. I mean, that's very possible. So on the 4-hour, we did close outside of the BB. The one thing here is you do have price movement up and somewhat of a down slope in your RSI or your TSI. Now, it's not quite a bearish divergence, but it's close. So just keep an eye on it. Something that I've been watching, and you know, I think that there's a possibility that this BART happens. So we may come back down here to hang around the bottom of this triangle soon. It should happen. Technicals say it should happen. You know, this is a triangle we should be breaking down, not out of. So we'll see what happens. The 1-hour. On the 1-hour chart, again, like I said, we did break out of that channel. But we did kind of come back into it. Now, depends on how you draw the channel. I could bring this bottom down a bit. You know, let's just take a look at it and see what it does. Let's see. If you do it there, it kind of makes sense as well. But doing it there still shows that we broke it down. but doesn't give us much weight anywhere else except for on the channel. So yeah, I mean, just like I think the way that I had it drawn was the best. Unless you go, let's just check something real quick here. Let's see if I like that, maybe. Let's see if I like that. See, I think I could live with that too. If you go that route, then, you know, we've been being hung up here if we can break it down. So that's another thing we can look at here. So yeah, I mean, if we do that, you have this little bit of a fake out here within a couple of hours back into the channels. I mean, they all kind of line up. It's pretty accurate, so, you know, it's something I would run off of here. So if that's the case on the 1 hour, there's a possibility we see, you know, you got a red 1 now with a little bit of a downtrend. You get another red 2 beneath the red 1. You might have you a nice little short entry here just to watch it for now. And then when it comes down, you want to see if it breaks this 236 fib. If it does, then there's a good chance it comes down and tests somewhere in the area of the 6,400 area, and then you may see a bounce back. And maybe it goes all the way back to the top of the channel. It could come back to the top of the channel and maybe top out here. So we just got to be careful. It's hard to tell. We've been so sideways the last few days that you know, it really is difficult to tell where we're going to go. But right now, it's, you know, it's starting to come back down. So let's see where it goes. The other thing to consider is there's a fib line here, which I think is the one that I just messed up. Let's see if we can fix it. Yeah, let's go to the daily chart. I think that's where it was at. Alright, yeah, that's where it was at. Okay, cool. So, sorry guys. Okay. Yeah, see, so there's nothing in the way for it till it breaks either this channel, and then if it does, then we'll probably stop somewhere around 63.75. You know, so there's a, you know, if you look at this, there's the path of least resistance is down. It's not up. So, you know, it's hard to decide, but that's kind of my idea. My view behind it is we should go down a little bit, and then we can see a bounce up. You know, it's possible. But here, I mean, so we just started the new hour, and we're down. Here again, you've got a red 2 and beneath the red 1. So using the sequential system, it's telling us to short right now. Now, would I do it right this second? No, I'll probably wait a little while and see how this candle goes. Now, obviously, do you want to miss the fall? No, you don't want to miss the fall, but do you want to FOMO in? No, you don't. So this is where you want to enter at, you know, somewhere in here, because the wick wasn't that low, so, you know, you could even go 4 candles back if you want. One from the 1 to 1, 2, 3, 4, go off that wick. So maybe that should be your short entry right there. That's your short entry, okay, which is 64.29. All right, so that's what the sequential says. Now, we can come back and look at this trade tomorrow. You don't have to do it. I'm just telling you that this is what the sequential system is telling us to do, okay? Now, we want to verify this with other charts. So let's say, okay, well, on the 1 hour, it's telling us to short somewhere in here, depending on what happens in the next, say, 50 minutes. Now we jump to the 4-hour chart, and the 4-hour chart's telling us, okay, we're on a 6 of 9 going down. Now, normally I don't want to enter on anything other than, you know, a red 4 below a red 3, or something along, maybe a red 5 below a red 4, which we didn't get here. So the 4 hours is telling you, it's not that great of a trade, but it is giving you a 6 under a red 5, red 6 under a red 5. But you have to remember that you only have 9 numbers before it'll price flip. So you have 3, or not till it will price flip, but till theoretically it will price flip. So let's say it did drop down. Depends on how long these candles go. Okay. Now you could see a real long, not massive 8 candle and drop it at 9, and that could be great. So it's not telling you not to do it, but it's not telling you it's the best trade. Okay. 12 hours giving you a red 1. Okay, with 4 hours left before it goes to your next candle. So if at 6 o'clock when we close the night, close the day, and this jumps to another red and it drops below 64.16 and creates a red 2 below underneath the red 1, then this is back in your 1 hour trade. Now your 1 hour trade is going to happen before you get your 9 candle out of your 4, because you're only going to get 8 hours. It's only 2 candles. So the chances of it being a good trade are now starting to rise, because you're also going to finish out in 1 4-hour candle. You may start to where that 9 could become, you may be able to finish the 1 hour on a 9 or a 5 or a 6 and then price flip and do it again at one of those fib levels. We'll see. I'm not really exactly sure how it's going to play out, but that's just what I'm telling you. That's what the sequential says. The sequential says that it could be a good trade. Okay. Now we want to see if we break below this fib line and see what we do at the bottom of the VB here. Okay. You know, it's hard to tell. It's a 1 hour chart, but that's what we're looking at. For some reason, my TSI got jacked up here. I'll just do that for now. It's not all the way there. So again, if you look at the TSI, it broke a little below the line, but either way, you still look at it. You had a lot of up movement here, and you have a lot of down movement in your TSI. So some bearish divergence here for sure on the 1 hour. Let's see if it plays out. You know, we are starting to drop, so we'll see how the game plays. But the 1 hour, like I said, is telling you to short it, so let's see what it does. That, like I said, that's your short entry. Your stop loss should be your swing high, which if you don't want to risk that, I would go here at resistance and see what happens if that's what you needed to do. Flip to long at that point if that's what happened. But anyway, we'll go from there. So let's move on to the oscillators. On the oscillators, we have, on your 1 hour chart, you have your stocks coming down. Says you have a little room to fall. RSI is neutral. TSI is basically neutral. Your CFM is trending down again. You just crossed over bear again on the MACD at the 0 line. So let's see what happens if it gets underneath there and creates another one of these nice little dip waves here. Let's see. Your momentum is also, you're running out of green momentum. 4 hour chart. On the 4 hour chart, it says that our stocks is a bit oversold, but our RSI is overbought. Our TSI is neutral. Yeah, your MACD, let's see here. MACD just crossed the bear again. Your momentum is still on the downside. Your CMF is holding steady, basically neutral, but basically neutral. Yep. 12 hour chart. 12 hour, your stocks is overbought, so you got some room to fall. RSI is neutral. TSI is neutral. MACD is bullish, but it is starting to turn bearish. So let's see what it ends up doing there. Oh, great! Look at that. My two indicators just put themselves together. Anyway, your CMS trending down, and your momentum, you're kind of starting to run out of downtrend momentum. So let's see. On your daily, it looks like you're trying to cross bear here on the MACD. Your TSI is neutral, and CMF is down. Your momentum is down. Could go either way. Let's go back. Here, look at that too. Here we go. We might see the dump. The dump might be here finally. I've been waiting for this dump to happen for a while now. I'd love to see us come back and test the bottom of that triangle. So we'll see what happens, but let's see what happens with this two candle. The last two candles dumped like this too, and they bounced right back. So we need to just say, you know, who knows what's going to happen. Well, let's watch it. Alright, so let's check out good old-fashioned Ether. Again, Ether looks like it's bouncing off support on the 100 MA. Your TSI is not neutral. It's headed towards that oversold area, but not quite there yet. Again, you had a red 2 beneath the red 1. You should have been short Ether at 203, 38, 203.50, maybe even somewhere above then, but that's where you should have entered at somewhere around 203.50. If you did a short on the sequential, that's what the sequential is telling you. You're short here. I mean, you could have took profit at 208, but you know, this is still a red 3 beneath the red 2. There's a good chance that there's more downside, but it is testing this 100 MA, so you could see a bounce here for a little while. But your 200 MA is just trending down, and it's not breaking above it. So anything on or above that line is most likely a good short right now. I just don't see how it breaks up out of that issue there. You did just have a 50 MA cross over your 200 MA, and nothing happened. So kind of weird, but that's kind of what's happening with Ether right now. Short that bad boy to 0. Well, charts. One of these charts is not working right for me. Okay. Let's look at the Ether daily chart here. Alright. So on the Ether daily chart, again, it kind of looks just like the BitMEX chart. There was that triangle we had before here that eventually broke down. Still looks the same to me. We did close out here. There's a good chance that we test this 20-day moving average here, and most likely be rejected there. Again, you may see a little bounce above it, but I don't see it breaking back over this 50-day MA. 230. Yeah, I mean, it's already been there and done that this week, so I mean, that may have been it on Ether. It just doesn't look good. Ether hasn't looked good in a while, so it just don't look good to me. 4-hour chart. Same thing on your 4-hour chart with Ether. You had a red 2, didn't quite get beneath the red 1. So, I mean, it didn't quite give you the short trade that you were looking for there. But it hasn't given us a short trade really here at all, except for right here. Even after this dump, it still told you to go ahead and get in and short it. You still would have made some good profits. But, you know, a red 4 beneath a red 3, especially if it ends up being a red 4 beneath a red 2 and beneath the red 1, if somehow it comes down here to, you know, 200 area to test that area again, it could be a good short back down to, you know, 190, 185, somewhere in that area. Again, your TSI is quite neutral, so there's still some room to fall there. Alright guys, so I mean, I guess that's pretty much it for today. I don't really have much more for you. Again, just keep this monthly chart in mind. It's just something that I've been looking at. Makes a lot of sense in some ways here. So, you know, let's see kind of how it plays out. But I think it makes some sense. So we need to... there we go. Yeah, see, so there. I just had to fix that, but see that 236 level, right at that MA, right at that MA. I mean, it just makes sense, guys. I mean, all the way around. No matter how you look at this chart, it just tells you that. You know, just tells you it's gonna happen. It's gotta happen. I mean, it only makes sense. So anyway, keep an eye on that. I've already posted this chart. I'll post it again. I got some more stuff I want to add into it. So once I get done messing with it and tinkering with it, I will post this chart again. It's also on TradingView. Also wanted to show you guys real quick. Excuse me. If you guys do want to help support our videos and our free content, we do have some affiliate links below. They do have 10% off for Deribit. If you're not on Deribit yet, do it, guys. You've got to do it. Real awesome exchange. The UI is not all that great yet, but it's definitely a lot safer than BitMEX. You can get in, you can get out. So you know that's kind of the idea there with BitMEX or with Deribit. So it's something that I would look at doing or switching to. I mean, I'm not telling you guys to do it, but it's something I would do. Also, if you guys want to do BitMEX, if you're not on BitMEX, it is awesome. It's a sweet exchange. Overload sucks, but if you want to do that, we have a link affiliate for that as well. But please, guys, use these affiliate links. Help us out. They're all great products. You all get great discounts off of them. Mr. Carl, yeah, I can take a look at ICX for you real quick now. Let's look at that. Let's see here. I'm going to go to a different chart here. Just so I don't... ICX not on Binance and Bittrex. No. Okay. Oh, whoa. What's going on here? I could have swore ICX was at Binance. Where is ICX? Yeah, I need to know what exchange it's at, because I thought it was Binance, but it's on Binance. That's what I thought. It's not coming up on Binance. What's the deal here? Oh, here we go. Maybe that's why. There we go. My bad, guys. Duh. Alright. There it is. Alright, so ICX. You want to know midterm, mid to long term. So let's look at it here. Let's look at the monthly charts. Well, real long term, it's hard to tell. It's bottom. I mean, it's back to right where it started at. So, let's see here. Let's see what the daily looks like. There we go. So, I mean, when you look at this chart, I mean, all I see, you know, it had its bubble and now it's down at its bottom. You know, it's not really giving us. Let's see here. I mean, it's overbought at the moment. Or not quite. Still has some room to grow there. Actually, has a lot of room to grow. On the daily chart, I mean, you could see here, it looks like it's back on top of support for today. And if it stays up there, that's great. It could go up, but I mean, this is the 50 MA. It's been in a massive sell-off. I mean, it doesn't look good, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, short term, it was a real good buy. I mean, you know, if you got it at 928, you know, or you know, somewhere 9 to 1,000, you know, somewhere in there, you know, it was a good buy. Short term, it is a green 2 above a red, a green 2 above a green 1, so there's a good chance that you do see some type of a rally here. But again, you have to remember that that will only depend on if Bitcoin rallies. If Bitcoin doesn't rally, then the chances of this going up are very slim. So you know, you just have to see. So it could still be a decent buy, but again, it's all depending on what Bitcoin does, and that's the reason why I haven't really been messing with many alts right now. There's just there's too much money to be made leverage trading right now. Obviously, it's more risky, but there's no alt that I really want to buy and like just hold on to for the next year or so before it's really worth something or it makes you good money. Now, if you're going to day trade, it's easier to day trade on BitMEX or something like that with no leverage and you're doing the same thing. You have a limited amount of alts, but it's worth trading versus, you know, holding onto some of these coins. The reason why is, you know, these coins are right now, I mean, it doesn't really matter what chart you look at or what rally it's had. The overall trend is down. I mean, they all are just crashing. So, I mean, it doesn't matter which one it is. I mean, BTC all the way down to the, you know, any coin you want to name, you know. I mean, I can just type in any of them, TRX, you know, and Tron, pull it up. Oops, where'd it go? Tron. You know, downtrend. Ether, you know, downtrend. Ether. Down. I mean, everything is just down. So I'm worried to even mess with alts right now, just because I don't feel that they're just not worth it right now. So I would rather trade MEX, trade Deribit, something along those lines, and it, you know, then you can pay attention to 4 or 5 coins and you can make better money. And you can take your time and do short scalps, long scalps. You know, you can play some of these longer term deals knowing that it's going down. Low leverage. You don't have to worry about liquidation. Let them sit. There's other ways to play the game than holding on to alts. Especially when 90% of them are going to be gone in the next 2 or 3 years. Most of them will crash out. Most of them are scams. 99.9%. Okay, and that's just the way it is. If you want to trade a cryptocurrency, trade Bitcoin, or trade in Bitcoin. You want to trade Bitcoin because it's the only one that is going to be a valuable asset later on. It's, that's just the way it is. So, I mean, the other coins, yeah, there's a lot of people making a lot of money on crypto. You can make good money on altcoins, but to hold on to them, there's very few out there. I won't name any because then I don't want you to yell at me and say, oh, I bought this coin and it crashed or something like that. But there's a few decent coins out there that are going to make some big things happen. But most of them are trash. That's just what it is. So, what else you want to know about them? They're crap. Don't mess with most of them if you can. I mean, I don't. I try not to. It's just something I don't like to do. I don't like to mess with them because it's just not smart trading. Trade the stock market instead. It's easier. A lot of these indicators we use get thrown away in crypto. People manipulate the market. In stock market, 90% of these indicators are dead on. So you can learn them and trade the stock market and make all kinds of money. But crypto's a little bit more risky. Yeah, MCO is not a bad project. It's a decent project. Again, is it a coin that I would want to hold forever? I mean, it's to each their own. Some people have, if you believe in a project, then that's what you trade. Trade what you believe in. Don't trade what, some guy off the street told you to trade. Don't not trade crypto. Don't not trade alts because I told you not to. I think they're crap, and I'm not going to trade them. But, if you guys want to trade them, be my guest. If you're making a bunch of money, awesome. Do that. But for me, I'm just going to stick to, margin trading and, trading what Bitcoin likes to do and trade the asset that's going to be there. Now, like I said, there's money in altcoins if you can find it. There's decent coins out there that are going crazy every day. But they're not sustainable. So, make the quick money and get out and leave them alone. And that's kind of what you got to do in this entire game. So, that's just a way to look at it. Yeah, no problem, man. Anytime. Let's see here. Education link does not work below. If it doesn't, I'll look at that and I'll try and get that fixed for the next video. I'll try and figure out what's going on with that. But anyway, guys, I mean, that's basic idea. Pay attention. We'll see what happens, what Bitcoin decides that it wants to do. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But we'll just sit around and see how it plays out. I'm excited to see where we go from here. So, but anyway, guys, all right, man. I am gonna get out of here today. Again, please use our links if possible. It really helps us out. Like us, subscribe us, tell your friends, man. We try to get some decent TA out every day. Check out our website. Check out our website, www.thriveforcrypto.com. You guys can check us out on Telegram. We're always there. PM us. Take a shout. Let us, if you guys need any help, we're always there to help out. So give me an idea. Shout at me. Peace out, guys. We'll see you later.